Thank you, Pastor Apostle Collins. I hear a lot of silence. Please relax. Remember, I used those words on Saturday. It's time for us to relax as a nation, even as we embark on some very important national duties and obligations. This is therefore my personal statement based on the NASA deal between, and I'm just quoting it as it was written. It doesn't mean I do not regard my brother as officially and commonly referred to. But this is between Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga and Mr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, dated the 30th April 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin the fresh round of political negotiation in our country, leading to the August 2022 general election, I've been compelled to release the above document in order to answer in part some of the criticism that has been leveled against me, to wit, and I quote, the indecisive kingmaker, end of quote, and the often quoted statement made before the NTV reporter, I believe that's my son Kennedy, to the effect that I would be a fool to support Honorable Raila Odinga a third time without a measure of reciprocity. In releasing this document, it is imperative to mention that I've tried twice to have Professor Makau Mutua convene a meeting between me and my brother, Honorable Raila Odinga, in his capacity as the depository of this most important document. On his part, Professor Makau stands in breach of his obligation under the agreement, since he has already joined Honorable Raila Odinga's campaign team. By accepting nomination of the Orange Democratic Movement to run as president for the 5th time, I believe my brother Raila Odinga has committed an irreparable material breach of this agreement. Now that's a legal term defined, I quote, irreparable material breach shall mean a repudiation, reneging, a violation, or an ouster in any way of any of the articles of the agreement. Attending the ODM delegates conference, at which my brother was named a presidential flag bearer, would have meant on my part acquiescence of the impugned breach. I wish therefore to state as follows. My brother has the option of abiding by the terms of this live legal agreement, live binding legal agreement, and thereby emerging, in my view, as a true national, regional, and indeed continental democratic hero, or he has the option of choosing to act in utter defiance and repudiation of the agreement, and thereby compounding the trust deficit. In both cases, Honorable Raila Odinga remains a brother with whom I've labored in absolute good faith to bring true democratic change to our country. It's already publicly expressed. I'm ready to work with him again under the three-pillar grand coalition government for the sake of our nation. I urge that we engage in fresh negotiations. I urge that as we engage in fresh negotiations, this document forms the basis of such negotiation. I want to give you just a copy. I'll actually spread. I'll distribute the copies of the agreement, but I just want to highlight one or two small paragraphs in it. It's actually entitled the NASA Deal, and by its nature, this document was a secret document. But it starts by saying this memorandum is a binding legal agreement between the parties. And the parties have been explained, and I've highlighted the paragraph which reads, the commitments made herein shall bind Principle H, read Raila, and Principle Q, read Kalonzo Musyoka, in both the 2017 and 2022 elections. By this agreement, the parties agree that Principle H will be NASA's presidential nominee, and that Principle Q will be his running mate. And then, most importantly, this agreement will remain valid until the 2022 elections, whether or not NASA wins the 2017 presidential elections. Please underline the words, whether or not we won the elections. And on the Articles of Agreement, I highlight Principle 2. Principle H agrees in a public MOU to serve one term and publicly endorse Principle Q as a presidential candidate for 2022. Therefore, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody has had any difficulty whatsoever with my sense of negotiation and my ability to play it straight and candidly, I hope today I've acquitted myself. I see the very nice headlines today in the media, there's tension between me and my brother. I want to tell you there's none. And in effect, some of you say, I ask His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to take leadership of the current round of negotiations. I think it's right and proper, considering he has a sense of authority, he's a sitting head of state, and whether some of you want to refer to him as an outgoing president, in my view, there are the presidents who have been outgone in our region and still hold great sway, not only in their countries, but in the countries of the African region. That is why somebody like President Obasanjo, my friend President Kikwete, who is actually in town, and others continue to be revered heads of state. I see President Uhuru Kenyatta playing that role into the future. But I want to urge that it plays even presently. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was my personal statement. As you can see, I don't even know where these Washmiwas have come from. Somebody must have sent a tweet or something, a hashtag personal statement, and then people felt, yeah, the true volcano is here. And indeed it is. And you should not expect anything. I promised the country in the days past that they're going to see a different Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. And we therefore embark on this. We have already been clear on our Buffalo approach, the Buffalo Soldier approach. Been very clear on our Clarion Call, Hakika Tutaweza. Been very clear in our commitment to literally end corruption in our country. Thank you. I don't know whether anybody would want to ask a question in the light. I'll ask Dennis to give you copies of this agreement, and one of which I'll give to Apostle Carl Collins to representing the church, because the church is the conscience of the nation. So that this, I ask the Kenyans engage in a very honest conversation about this document. In fact, this is my contribution to intensifying our democratic practice so that leaders going forward will not want to cut corners where it is clear what they should do with regard to the commitments. We do this not because I want anything personal or that I'm seeking public sympathy. Far from it. Far from it. I just want Kenyans to have a very honest conversation about this matter. So Apostle Collins, I give you a copy on behalf of the church. And I ask the church takes a role, even when leaders sit between themselves. I think they need people to pray for them. I'm very prayerful, but I think I need help. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Shika mkono. Thank you. So the matter is so clear. I still insist that we are prepared to proceed on the basis of a three-legged stool, the Grand Coalition approach, and we therefore wish Kenyans all the very best as we get into this season. We should get into this season with a full confidence that this is a nation under God, and leaders should continue, when they issue commitments to each other, they should endeavor to honor them. Yes, madam. He's in breach himself. Okay? I say that this document, in my view, should form the basis of honest conversation. Well, that would be another story. We tell Kenyans they have refused. Fine, and we'll move on. But my commitment to move on the basis of the Grand Coalition, pillar-based, is a consultative thing. I had full consultations as party leader of Wiper with my team. Some differed, some didn't. The majority view was, let's proceed. Yes, ma'am.
My name is to talk about the Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Had you considered the fact that there was a pending issue of the NASA deal while making that comment, or was it just the mood of the day?
No, not the mood of the day. In fact, I was not the only one who spoke about Azimio NASA. No, not Azimio NASA. Azimio Oka. I was waiting for you to correct me. The president himself, actually, in a very dramatic manner, said that we now have two presidential candidates. That the Honorable Raila Odinga has been proposed by ODM. Wiper on their part has also given a name of a presidential candidate. And therefore, these two gentlemen will meet at some point. And whoever emerges as the flag bearer of Azimio Oka Grand Coalition will receive everybody's support. The president himself was more vocal on that subject than I was. And therefore it was fully consultative. So nobody should ever try to talk about any other leg, because these legs have been agreed. Oh, another one. But when we were at the NDC, Jubilee's NDC, I remember before I arrived at KICC, there was a 411 alert saying that Raila was on his way from Kasarani to KICC, expecting endorsement. Now, my brother Uhuru Kenyatta, in his personal capacity, can endorse. But wouldn't you think the most important endorsement would have been that of the delegates conference? Just like Raila was endorsed by ODM, I was endorsed by Wiper, okay? But Jubilee did not endorse any candidate. Even if they said, our dume wawili, wasonge mbele. One of them will emerge as a presidential candidate. So the position I take is that of the party. But President Uhuru Kenyatta is within his rights to support. But of course, I don't know why you say I relying. It's not, I think you overdo it, Dave, that I'm over-relying. I'm not over-relying. We just negotiating going forward. And I'm quite sure President Uhuru will also be at liberty to change his mind. Please. Suggesting, by the way, it's not mandatory. In fact, let me be frank with you, my friend from KBC. If we were to follow the letter and spirit of the document I've just circulated, There's no need for mediation. It's not a mediation process. It is just a simple matter, and I've given the two options. Yeah, my friend has the option to abide by his own signed commitment, or he says no, and then enhance what I call a trust deficit. Yes, I think we take more and we finish. Before you, because you need time to digest what I've just circulated. It is very important for us, for this country, even for future generations. Yes, hiyo ni yako kabisa. I said the opposite. Bali na yote hayo, kutokubaliana, kutofanya lolote, watu kuchukua msimamo tofauti na yale ambayo wamekadiriwa, yale wenyewe wameweka sahihi, na sijui kama kuna mtu bado amefanya hivyo, lakini mieleza kabisa the legal position kwamba ingawaji yote hayo pengine waende yakafanyika, lakini tumetangaza wazi kwamba tuko tayari kufanya kazi, na jina lenyewe limebainika wazi, Azimio Oka Grand Coalition. Sasa hayo yako umeyatoa wapi rafiki yangu? Umepata wapi hiyo? Oh, mnaniuliza kama umepata mwaliko? Sijapata. Na kama huko in writing nipatie. Sijaona. From now on, this is good. I think I like that. Kwa hivyo tuache maneno ya Wakenya wako na kwanza social media, na washukuru sana. Wanatoa maajabu. Umesikia wengine wanasema Kalonzo atakuwa hiki, wengine maajabu. Speculation. But that is it. We must celebrate social media. I want my daughter there to ask the question. Liz, is it? Yeah. Irreducible minimums. Pia tutavuka daraja hiyo tukifika. Amesema mazungumzo yameanza. Sasa irreducible minimum, soma hiyo document ambayo nimekupatia. Utapata kwamba irreducible minimum ni kwamba my brother Raila Odinga, by honoring this document, will pronounce his brother the flag bearer for Azimio Oka. Sije kusikia polisi.
Are you saying that this time you will not support Raila Odinga?
No, I've not said any of that. I've said, Chemutai, I've said everything is discussable, everything is on the table, and what I've just given you today will form the basis of future negotiations. Yes. Just barakoa. Ne ku reduce tension in addition. Naam. Yes. Tomorrow I'm not attending for sure. I have read about it in the media, because that's a straight one. Okay? And we will attend once everybody is at peace and at liberty. We can't repeat the mistakes of the past. One time this happened in famous grounds called Hadija Gardens. Unaenda unapata watu wamejipamba kivyao, kama wakati ule the celebrated instrument was a hammer, which was a very ugly American car in my view. Lakini sasa watu wa Kenya wakaona hammer ni nyundo. I remember asking my people, our friends, because we are all in ODM Kenya, tuliwacha lini wakati wa mambo ya machungwa sasa unabeba nyundo? We don't want that kind of crowd effect. This country is more important than a group that gets together, psychs each other to the detriment of the greater good of this nation. So, I'm not attending Nakuru, but that doesn't mean I will not attend. Once we are all in agreement, we shall move. Now, what was your first question? Now, NASA, this has nothing to do with the NASA coalition deal. This was separately negotiated. All right? That's why actually I pity my friends who left me for Kenya Kwanza. Yeah? Madividi and Weta. They told me in 2017, sisi tumekubali ni Raila. You as his running mate, whatever mtakubaliana ni yenu. So I went ahead and negotiated this very important legal binding document. So when I saw Weta getting thrown out as the minority deputy, minority leader in the Senate, and then he said that these things will be nasty, what is it? Messy. The divorce will be nasty, messy. I could understand. These are my friends. I truly miss them. Another question? What options? I don't know what options. You want me to put all my cards on the table? Bwana. Listen, you're looking at a very tough negotiator, and this is what Kenyans, by the way, you people in the media, help me. When you insist on your strict legal rights, nobody should say indecisive. And you know, please take it from me, I'm involved in saving lives in the region by way of having heads of state negotiate positions. On Thursday, I'm joining President Museveni. That is day after tomorrow. In Entebbe, to try and see whether we can help our brothers too in Sudan, at least to come up with one army, national army. But if you hear them debating on whether SPLM-IO, which is in opposition, SPLM in opposition, or whether it is SPLM-IG in government, because of them are holding to the sanctity of the name SPLM, one says, no, IO, you get 40%. And IG says, no, we're in government, we must get 50%. And over that, people went through the cantonment processes. Have not even been able to graduate. So this is why these are important matters. If we just throw in the towel and play to the frenzy, celebrate greatness again, that's why I actually remember I said going to Sekuru was an option. But I would want Kenyans to know why, if I choose to Sekuru, why is that an option? And I want therefore to invite serious Kenyans who care about this nation to join me. Otherwise mtakuwa nyinyi yote mnaweza kufurugwa, kumaliza nchi na kutokuwa na amani. Lakini Mungu ako pamoja nasi. Yes, that is dissolved. NASA is dead. That's why I'm saying my statement, it was unfortunate. It's not binding. And this is not, the fact is a NASA deal. NASA deal is because of that time. And please remember this particular one has no reference to the main NASA deal. I see your point. I actually see your point now. The reference to NASA deal. And NASA, of course, is dead. But this is a matter between two principles. Principle Q and Principle H. But based on the timing. Yeah. Why do you want to answer all the questions? First of all, read the document. Okay. NASA are very well briefed that I'm issuing this pass. I'm sorry, OCA. My fellow principals in OCA are very well briefed that I'm issuing this personal statement. I had to explain it to them. It was important for me to explain to them. This has nothing to do with what we are doing in OCA, or indeed with within the framework of Azimio OCA. An advantage. I don't think those friends and sisters have any problem with giving me advantage. I don't think so, quite frankly. I think that is enough. Yes. One last one. No, well, then we'll take you and the last one. Yes. I think that is a point for, I don't want to involve in metrics calculation and whatever. For now, we are dealing with a factual situation. Again, we may cross a bridge if we have to come to it. Yes, sir. Kiara. Lipi? Hili ambalo limetukusanyisha hapa, lenyewe lina uzito. Nakubaliana kabisa. Naam. mimi nilikuwa tayari. Asante sana Cesaro kwa hilo swali. Unakumbuka sijui ni watu wa social media ama watu ambao last Sunday tukiwa Mombasa walisema nimefanya mashauri na Raila for 2 hours Tamarin. It was not correct. It was actually not a correct thing. But we met over breakfast na nikampata pale Raila kwa simu asema, "Hey Steve, guess who is on the phone?" And I looked at it. It was Professor Makau Mutua. Alright? That name, please underline that name. You may want to underline another name called Professor Kivutha Kibwana. At the time we signed this document, Kivutha Kibwana was the chair of WIPA. And I had to bring him in to witness. Okay? So that name is also important. Because a lot of people are going to have to answer integrity questions. So, tulikuwa tumekubaliana na Raila kwamba Makau convened last Thursday. And the intention was yeye alete, ingawaji already is acted in breach. Alright? Alitangaza kwa Azimio rally in Kasarani kwamba yeye anamuunga mkono rafiki yangu Raila. Kwa dhati. Kwa hivyo karibu msimamo kulingana na document yenyewe. Na hata hivyo ni ndugu yetu. I was ready to meet up. I told him ready Thursday. I've been waiting. I waited the whole Thursday. There was no call from Makau Mutua. So, and time is of the essence. Kwa hivyo mimi niko tayari. Hata sasa ndugu Raila akisema, nimeona sasa ndugu vile umesema, tukutane tujadiliane. Kwa hivyo naona the spirit of this communication is a very open spirit, but one that is accompanied by a serious sense of nationhood. The question we ask ourselves is, as leaders, can we be held to account on what we affix our signatures to? Because I can tell you the next round of negotiation will be very tough for me, because I don't want it to be seen as Kalonzo Musyoka and Ajitaftia. No, it is the party that I belong to, the political formation that I belong to. The next round we'll have to look at that matrix. I like the idea of a matrix. We'll have to look at the budget for this country. What is in it for the common person? And it to be made public from day one. Absolutely public. Yeah? This is my commitment. Others will not be party to something more secret dealings, not me. Yes, the last one, and then you're off. Yes, sir. Maraba. Maraba mwanangu. Watoka wapi? Weru. I've heard of Weru. Tafadhali. Usinipeleke hiyo route. Tafadhali. Hiyo route weka hiyo. Hiyo ni league, I don't know what league you're talking about. Hiyo wacha hiyo. Yeah. No, by the way, we must now conclude, Yeah. Ramogi, you're absolutely the last one. And by the way, you're doing it the third time. Inaonekana uko na linkages na kwanza. Alinisema hapa, Elisema, what was it? What was it? Yeah, it was a buya. It was a buya. Yeah. I apologize. But you remember what I said from this podium? Kenya kwisha. Sio Kenya kwanza. Yes. Fair enough, it is within his rights. It is within his right to decline. Absolutely. No holds barred here. By the way, this morning I was thinking of Kenny Rogers' composition, The Coward of Accounting. Yeah? Think about those words. Yeah, and you come up with the no holds barred. Wakati wa vijana walimuingilia Becky, he didn't leave any of them standing. Yeah. So, I think we have duty to do to save this nation, to make it greater, and this is a season to do so. One misstep, I don't want to be held accountable. That why did you not say? Why did you not tell the country? Gentlemen, you have a lot to chew. God bless you.